Yo. What is going on, good people? Back once again with you for another episode of All Pucked Up, brought to you by MyGarageBar.com and, of course, Disruption Network. Oh, man, what a day here. For anybody who tuned into the live stream just a couple minutes ago, you would have saw me, just talking. I totally screwed up the camera. And so while we were supposed to have our intro going and all that other stuff, I'm just kind of sitting here talking. And, yeah, this guy. It's been a very, very, very long week, everybody. And hopefully we'll just push through this show. And, yeah. By the way, I'm Rich Masucci. Let me go ahead and introduce my my co-hosts here. And back with us, I knew you would be, man, because you just couldn't stay away. And I love that about you. Yoshi, what is happening, my friend?
Oh, not much. Feeling a lot better than I was last week, that's for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're very low today on this thing. Do I need to turn this up? What is going on here? How come I can't hear you?
Check. 1, 2, check.
Oh, you're on that mic right there.
Hey. Wow, we are batting 1,000 today.
Big swing and a miss. Let me ask you again, what is going on?
Not much. Feeling a lot better than I was last week, that's for sure.
All right, very cool, man. I got to tell you, it's been such a weird week, like I said. And the other day I was trying to call you, and I was like, oh, my God, tell me Yoshi's not around. I have to get your number straight in my phone. Honestly.
Yeah, yep.
It's nuts. And Scott Kimville, what's going on, man?
Oh, pretty busy weekend. You know, my cousin got married Friday night.
Okay.
Of course, he had open bar all night long, so thank you, Christopher, but not thank you the next day.
Yes.
Had a league game Saturday night at Clinton Arena against our friend Mark Bolos.
Oh.
Was on the other team from Big Apple Music.
Music, yes.
And, of course, his team won. So, I'm going to get you next time, Mark.
You're not sour about that.
Nah, Rich, I'm too old to get soured about it, okay?
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And then heading over to the Comets game after we get done here, courtesy of our buddy Travis Rippo.
Very cool, man.
So I bought his tickets, and
Was that the Penguins tickets he was getting rid of?
No, that was Friday. No, today, I should say, is against the Crunch.
Oh, okay.
Our big rivals to the west.
Yeah, you got to play for that. Got to play for the championship there.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Guys, I got to tell you, last night I had the privilege of working the Styx show. Remember the Styx?
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto. I don't know what that is, but yeah. Yeah. So I had to work them last night, and I had to run Spotlight. And I was telling you guys a story just about 10 minutes ago about how that is so exhausting. I've been doing this kind of work since 2000, so just about 20 years. And their lighting director, their LD, is notorious for being one of the most thorough, we'll say, in the industry. And oh my God, it's like reading an encyclopedia for 2 hours straight. And holy mackerel, I just got out of there and my head was, wow, holy mackerel, Christ, it is so exhausting. And then the first thing they'll do is guys, and we need you to go load the truck after this. And oh,
yeah.
Lord. So I got home, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I had to try to wrap my head around this. I'm like, and we have the hockey show in the morning. Yes, that's great.
You know what you should have done, though? You should have wore that hot dog costume. That's what you should have done.
Who was the other band? We did another one. Hoosier? I don't know how to say their name, but
were they from Indiana?
No, I think
the
they're
Hoosiers?
from Ireland. They sing "Take Me to Church." You heard that? Take me to church. Don't make me sing, please don't. We'll drive away our entire audience by me singing. But yeah, we did them the night before, and I'm ready for a break, man. I really am. Hockey, craziness going on, right?
Absolute nuttiness.
I say craziness because you saw what happened. My boy, Sidney Crosby, hurt.
Is that surprising, though? The Penguins? Come on. At some point, I think Crosby is the only one has been immune to injuries from the Penguins for the past 5 years.
Lower body injury.
Yes,
he's not
but he's only day to day.
Yeah, that's true.
It is not a week to week lower body injury.
First thing when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, we just got Malkin back. I think Letang is still out.
Letang's out. Yeah.
But
you got Brian Russ back.
Great. Well, actually, I am happy about that, but I'm not ready to make that trade for Crosby just yet. So.
Oh, why not? Shake things up a little bit. No guts, no glory. Come on.
Yeah. Yosh, today, in honor of you, my friend, we're going to talk about the New York Rangers. We finally decided we need to do an all New York show because that's where
we're going to be in a New York state of mind today, aren't we?
Oh, we are. You want to sing it?
No.
We decided that we have to give some of these guys what they're asking for, and everybody's always asking for the Rangers. They all want the Rangers.
It's this area is such a weird mix because you get a lot of both Rangers and Sabres fans here. A lot more Rangers fans I've noticed. Though.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe Buffalo, but because we're technically closer, aren't we?
We're like right in the. It's really right in the middle.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess.
Well, because it's like down in Herkimer County, it's the Sabres consider to be the home market.
Yeah.
For MSG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just weird how that works.
Yeah.
It is. Well, anyways,
But,
we're going to.
But I think the cutoff line is like the Montgomery County, Herkimer County line. So we're literally right in the middle.
Is that true then?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Well, we're going to give the people what they want today. We're going to talk a little bit about Rangers. And if anybody's out there wants to chime in and tell us what they think, go on, because this is like, this is your conversation, man. So currently 6th in the division, 12th in the conference. New York Rangers, they had a lot of moves in the offseason. I noticed that right off the bat. Yoshi, go ahead and tell us about that.
A lot of moves.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last year or the year before the letter came out. Every Rangers fan.
Dear
knows
John
about
letter.
The letter.
You're all up.
Hey, guess what? This team's going to change.
Right.
And they made a lot of big changes. I mean, the biggest one we saw, obviously, Artemi Panarin getting signed to a massive contract with
7
the
years?
7 years.
somewhere it's like-
It was 11.2 AAV, so.
Yeah.
And he actually took a discount to go there.
$81.5 million
Yeah.
worth an annual average of $11.642 million.
11.6.
Woo! That's a lot of cheddar cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you definitely want to get what you paid for out of him. You seen it yet?
He's actually been performing pretty well. I mean, he's pretty close to being a point per game player.
Yeah.
Which is what they expected out of him.
Yeah.
And what he's always been in the past with Columbus. I'm happy with him.
Mm.
I think he'll help the team grow out of the struggles they're having now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they picked up Adam Fox, who didn't want to be in the Carolina system anymore anyway. They traded Neil Pionk for Jacob Trouba. From Winnipeg. We fleeced Winnipeg on another trade.
That's another.
I don't know about. I don't know if that's going to be a complete fleecing, but
Yeah, Trouba really hasn't shown up.
Pionk's actually doing pretty decent in Winnipeg.
Yeah, he is. He is.
You guys got what?
And there was a first rounder involved with that too, wasn't there?
You sent a 2019
conditional.
first-round pick over to Winnipeg for him for Trouba.
Yeah.
In addition to Pionk.
Yep.
So, yep.
I think that turned into that Veal Hiona or whatever that Winnipeg started the season with.
Yeah.
And they don't want to burn up too much of his contract, I guess, so they sent him down. But he was actually doing decent for him too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's all right.
Well, you guys, you signed Trouba to 7 years also, $56 million contract, worth $8 million a year too. So.
Yeah, we went from being a rebuilding team to being in kind of a cap hell situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there were a lot of players like Brendan Lemieux needed to get re-signed, and he took a massive discount on a 1-year deal. Tony DeAngelo, he has actually been playing really well.
Yeah.
Especially the last probably 10 games. He took a really big discount.
He's been their best defenseman.
Yeah, he is. Definitely.
I want
Pavel Buchnevich took a little cut there to come back too.
Yep.
with the hometown discount.
Oh yeah,
Discount.
discount double check.
We wanted to talk a little bit about Panarin too. You were saying all last year. You were saying he wanted to play in a bigger market.
Yeah, I mean that was the horn he was blowing the whole time. You knew he was leaving Columbus.
Yeah.
And apparently, I guess the rumor mill has it that Columbus came in at a last minute offer with there was going to be $14 million a year.
Yeah.
That we're going to pay him
Ridiculous.
for 8 years, $14 mil per year. And he said, "Nope, I'm gone."
Wow.
Imagine that, right?
I just am not interested in that.
But I think actually Panarin's the perfect fit for the Rangers, and I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't need somebody to set him up.
No.
He doesn't need somebody to constantly feed him the puck. He is his own center, really. Even though he plays left wing, he is his own center. He can create his own space. So for a young team like the Rangers, that's going to be ideal. So that was actually a very good move on their part.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want Artemi Panarin anyway, right? I mean, no, he stinks. I don't want him on my team.
I don't want the bread man.
No. No.
The other thing I noticed with you guys, Shattenkirk, you bid hasta la vista to Shattenkirk after, 2 goals?
It was bad.
It was really
so
bad.
And he spent most of this last season on the IR. It was just, and they signed him to big money too.
They bought out his contract.
And they bought out his contract. And where did he go? Tampa.
Where
all the Rangers go.
New York South, as we call it, right? Yeah.
Well, the thing with Shattenkirk, though, I think actually, honestly, I just think the Rangers expected too much out of him. To be perfectly honest with you, Kevin Shattenkirk for his entire career has been a power play specialist.
Yep.
That's really what he's not a number one defenseman.
Right.
He's never has been, right?
No.
So, I mean, that was proven in Washington, too. Remember, they brought him into Washington figuring, this is the final piece. What was that, in 2016, I think, right?
Yeah, right. The trade.
They traded for him, right? So, excuse me. Anyways, if Shattenkirk can be buried in the pairings, like he is right now in Tampa Bay, because they're so deep on defense,
Yep.
that's where he's going to shine. He's not a defensive defenseman, let's put it that way. He's not going to be your shutdown guy. But if you need the puck moved, Shattenkirk's your guy.
Yeah.
So when the Rangers, that was kind of a skeptical move on their part when they did sign with that contract. It's like, wait a minute. You're giving big money to a guy who's going to be, okay, he can run your power play, but I don't want him on the ice when you're trying to protect a 1-goal lead. So...
they gave him his dream anyway, because that was...
Well, he wanted to come to New York because he's from New York.
Yeah.
And they said he actually took a discount to come to New York.
Yeah.
He could have gotten bigger money.
Right.
He still got paid anyways,
Okay. And he still is.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't feel bad for him.
So I got to stir the pot a little bit on this one. How are you on your? I butcher his name every time. Is Capo Caco? Am I saying it right?
Something, yeah.
Capo. Yep.
Okay. I butcher it every time I say it. I know I was talking with Scott like week 1 or whatever we were on here, and. What do you think about him so far? And
we talked about this a little bit during the awards, the Halloween show.
Yeah,
too.
yep.
He's a young player. He's 18 years old, and I think a lot of the Rangers fans were expecting this guy to come out and be the next Connor McDavid and the next Sidney Crosby or whatever. And it's just he's got to develop.
Yeah, he does.
He does. And ever since we talked a little bit of smack about him at the Halloween show, he's had 4 points in 6 games.
Well, it's the all pucked up boost.
Yeah, the all pucked up boost.
Well, it helped he got put on the first power play unit too.
That too, yeah. It's where and you're going to see the lines are going to be moving around a lot with the team. It is a rebuilding team still.
Yeah.
So you'll see the lines moving around, and you'll see him. He'll be on the first line, and he'll be on the second line. He'll be on the first power play unit. He might get bumped back down to the second power play unit if he's not doing well, but you got to give the kid time to develop. He's getting used to the North American ice size still, and the rules are a lot different here. And you're playing against guys that have been in the league for much, much longer than you have.
Oh yeah.
So I just think
right? He's finished.
Finish. Yep. So I think this season, if they get 40 points out of him, I think that's a good start for him for his first year in the league.
Yeah,
and then once he starts to develop more and more, you'll see he'll definitely be up there. But
I think a lot of times, almost like we're constantly ripping on like the Canadian media with Toronto.
Right.
It's the same thing. You're playing in a huge market in New York,
and anything to do with the Rangers is going to get overhyped anyway.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, but it is. It
was
just
like. They signed Panarin. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No.
They signed Panarin, and then they got Kakko, the second round pick, and all of the New York City media was like,
"That's it,
rebuild over.
Yeah,
that's it.
The second
we're
coming
a cup
is here
team now. We're a cup team now, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry." And they're not. Yeah, not yet. They're going to be there.
Oh yeah. They'll get there. Definitely.
They're going to be there within the next, I would say, 2 to 3 seasons. They will be back in the playoffs, but. I don't see it happening this year, and I don't. I just think you got to give these kids time to develop.
Yeah,
that's
right. Because if you look,
don't go in there with your hopes here, and when you get this, get all angry about it.
Well, it's the other thing too. Not only is he playing in a big market, a big name market, but also second overall, right?
Second overall pick. Yeah.
Yep.
So. The expectations are automatically there, and everybody's jumping on it.
Well, the thing is like when he came into the league, they're like, "Oh, well, you should have seen what he was doing in the Finnish league against men over there. He was hitting, and he was." It's like, okay, That's great. And Finland's hockey program has grown leaps and bounds over the past 5 to 7 years. Playing against men in Finland is a lot different than playing against men in the NHL.
Very
said this time and time and again.
Yep.
And if you watch him right now, he's not very physical. Mm-hmm. It's understanding he's 18 years old. Like you said, he's getting used to the game here. All right. Once he learns to harness some of that physicality in the NHL is when he's going to be all right. What I think they got to do is they got to get somebody who can dish him the puck too, because unlike Panarin, right now he's not at a point in his career where he can create his own space.
Right.
He's
right.
When Zibanejad comes back, maybe do you put him back up on the Zibanejad line, or there's a lot of moving parts because they're still trying to find their way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rangers fans, but you still are trying to find your way.
Yep.
I think they got to get more deep at center. They're severely lacking in depth at center. I mean, they went on a little mini winning streak without Zibanejad, which was impressive. It was impressive, but you think that's going to last all season long? No, it's not going to.
Right.
All right. The other thing is, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here, and I think we're going to talk about this anyway, so I'm probably jumping the gun on you.
Goaltending?
Yes.
Yes. And I'm gonna go right with you because I know where you're going with it. I honestly thought that Lundqvist was finding his way to the back of the order there with Georgiev, and all of a sudden, is that not the case?
It's pronounced Georgiev.
Oh, Georgiev. I call it Georgiev.
Hank's got a lot of life in him left. I mean, I think when his contract's up, I don't see him. I think that's going to be maybe it. And if he does re-sign, it'll probably just be consecutive 1-year deals.
How old is he? Do you know where
he's 37.
37, okay.
Yeah. Georgiev, he's so hit or miss. Mm-hmm. And it depends on the night. Some nights he has an awesome night, and then other nights you see him and he
gets shelled.
He's making bad plays out of the net. But in Hartford, they do have a little something in their back pocket waiting in Igor Shesterkin, who's currently leading the AHL, 1.65 goals against the average, and his save percentage is .939. And Hartford's sitting in first in the AHL right now.
Yeah.
So they're 10-1, 0-4.
So maybe there's a little something there.
There's something there. They're already calling him the next king, the Tsar, because he's Russian, the Tsar.
And then we go at the media again.
Yeah.
But you see, that's exactly why the Rangers are never going to go anywhere until Lundqvist is gone.
No, because
he's holding that team down. I'm sorry.
He is.
And I know, like, every time I mention that to Ranger fans, it about starts a fist fight because they go insane. You can't talk about that like Lundqvist. I just did.
Yeah. He's past his prime.
He is. And you know what the thing is? I mean, I know you think like Georgiev is inconsistent and all that, but I'm telling you right now, he's a better option than Lundqvist.
Yeah.
And not only that, Hank is carrying an $8.5 million per season cap hit. Yeah. Can you imagine what kind of depth they could get with that $8.5 million per season?
Absolutely.
But he's got a no-move clause. He's not going anywhere.
No.
They're never going to be able to trade him. Never. Because even if, they found a trading partner and said, yeah, okay, we'll take a chance on the rest of his contract to try to shore up our goaltending, do you think he's going to leave New York for anywhere else? Arizona?
Hell no.
Do you think he's going to go anywhere? No, he's a god in New York. There's no way he's going anywhere.
Not even outside of that, just the backlash it would create with the hardcore Rangers fans.
Oh yeah.
I'm a more realistic Rangers fan when it comes to stuff. I don't. You want to say Lundqvist is done? I agree with you. Lundqvist is. He should at least be taking a back seat and let Georgiev take most of the starts at this point.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Even call up Shesterkin and
gonna have to
carry three, scratch Lundqvist, let the young guys do it like we're doing here in Utica with 3 goalies. Give these guys the chance they deserve because they're playing so well. You can't wait until Hank goes down or Georgiev goes down before you call Shesterkin up. He deserves a chance to play in the NHL now.
Right.
He's proven himself in Hartford. I don't know.
You know what I'm kind of curious though, and I don't know what the AHL stats are for this. What's the difference between the amount of shots that Hartford's giving up per game as opposed to what the Rangers are. Because right now, the Rangers are second to dead last in shots given up. They're at 36.2 shots per game given up. So the Ranger goaltending is seeing a lot of rubber right now.
Yeah.
Is Hartford tighter on D? I don't know. I really don't. Are they giving up less shots? And I'm not taking anything away from Shesterkin. I'm just saying that,
right.
you got to pump the brakes a little bit, because if you're going to come up to the NHL and all of a sudden you're going to face twice as many shots per game, the percentages are working against you.
Yeah.
Okay? So some of the Ranger fans that I talk to are very high on trading Georgiev. Sorry. I had one telling me last week that they could get a first-round pick and then some for him. I'm like, wow. I'm like, dude, really? Okay, let's relax, because the goaltending market is about to get very, very flooded as well. So the Rangers got to worry about a couple things with him. Are you going to trade him and have him take the chance of him finding his game and becoming a number one somewhere? And you also have the Seattle expansion draft coming.
Oh, very true.
Yep.
So,
and that's going to be similar.
And I think Hank's still under contract when that comes through. So Seattle's not taking Hank unless the Rangers sweeten the pot for him.
Right.
So, I stand corrected, because since Hank has a no-move clause, the Rangers have to protect him. Yep. That's right. I forgot about that. So,
and Shesterkin will be protected in that.
Yeah, so he'll still be on his ELC, his entry-level contract. So you're running the risk of leaving Georgiev exposed.
Yeah, unprotected.
So that's a real conundrum they got there. It is.
I think the biggest thing I see that the Rangers need to work on, because for the forwards, the scoring, it's there. They're doing good. They're winning games. They're winning games against teams they shouldn't be winning games against, and they're losing to teams that they shouldn't be losing to.
Ottawa.
That's right here in my notes. Ottawa. They lost to New Jersey.
Yeah.
But they beat Tampa last week, 4-1. 4-1, they beat Tampa.
But in all fairness, that's when Tampa was kind of still floundering along.
True.
They went over to Sweden to find their game. Isn't that weird?
They beat Carolina last week. That was another high scoring game.
Well, let me ask you something, and
it just shows you how bad the Rangers' blue line is, how bad the defense is. Everyone's going, yeah, Lundqvist 45 saves that night. Yeah, that means he had to make 45 saves.
Exactly. And that's why I always kind of wondered with Jacob Trouba, is he really a true number one defenseman? Because he never had to deal with that pressure in Winnipeg.
No,
he didn't. He always had Bufflin there to buffer, for lack of a better term. Now, let me ask you something as a Rangers fan, okay? Because this is the nightmare scenario I see for the Rangers. Let's say they do all right through the regular season. Coming near the trade deadline, they're within, say, 2 or 3 points of a playoff spot, and they're right there contending. Now what do you do?
Trade Kreider.
Do you really?
Yep.
Interesting. Do you trade anybody else?
I wouldn't trade away any of the young guys. I mean,
so by trading Kreider, you're basically throwing in the towel on the playoff spot, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
Kreider didn't even have his first goal until last week, I think. 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. Kreider finally got his first goal of the season. I still think he only has maybe 4 points on the season so far. Well, he's a good mentor.
I could never figure that out, because it's like Chris Kreider is like the constant whipping boy for Rangers fans. I don't know why. They just, for every year, it comes up. We got to trade Kreider. He's got to go. So the dude's only making $4 million a year. What? It's not like you couldn't sign Panarin because you had to pay Kreider, okay? Kreider's got to be looking at the papers going, what did I do? I mean, come on, guys. I took out Carey Price in Game 1 of the 14 conference finals so you could make it to the Stanley Cup final. I did that.
That was a trip.
I took him out so we could get there. And now you're just going to constantly be all over me?
And this is how
I should have gotten a raise for that.
That was a trip.
He certainly didn't try to get out of the way. That's for
no, he did not.
So we got to do something, because we got to get to our break in just a minute. But realistic expectations for this team going forward this year?
Probably they have the opportunity to maybe be a bubble team. But I'm gonna go finishing 70 to 80 points this year.
Just outside.
Just outside.
Okay, Scott.
They're going to miss the playoffs, and I hope to God that the league doesn't rig the draft again so they get the number 2 overall pick once again.
Oh, please.
And I'm saying that as a bitter Kings fan, all right?
I see where this break is going to be spent. Hey, so we got to do some trivia. You got trivia?
Yes, we got some breakaway trivia today.
Okay.
So, in the interest of saving some time here, we're going to go through the whole spiel real quick. Okay, you're on a breakaway against me. I'm the goalie. To light the lamp, you got to answer my question correctly. So I'm going to give you an easy one today.
Beach ball.
Beach ball. All right. Where did the Calgary Flames play before they moved to Calgary?
Oh, that's an easy one.
I told you. The answer when we come back.
All right. And we're back. And as you noticed, we're missing somebody, and that's because we got in a in-depth conversation there, and yeah, and we forgot.
I couldn't let the Rangers conversation go.
we had someone forget that they had to be back in like just a few seconds here. So, oh dear God! While we're waiting for Scott to get back, I got to tell you, man. So. We were talking about fantasy hockey.
Yeah.
And there's some people out there that kept asking us, they said, why don't you guys do a little talk about fantasy hockey? We're still trying to explore that option. But the other thing is there's a lot of different settings that people incorporate into
tough.
the league.
You know, you try to tell somebody like with fantasy football, it's a little different.
Yeah.
To give tips on what players you should pick up.
Yeah.
What players you pick up in a fantasy hockey league. It's really dependent on what your league settings are.
It totally is.
If you do hits and blocks, if you do, plus minus, which is a garbage stat, and don't ever use plus minus in a fantasy hocky league.
Unfortunately, we do.
You do. We did. We used to.
I'm thinking about taking that out next year because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
Actually, we'll come back in just a second and talk more about fantasy hockey. But before we forget about it, I want you to give us that trivia. We'll finish the trivia. We're running.
Okay.
Out. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we're on right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. You guys went, wow.
We're live right now, buddy.
The joke's on you. Okay. Wow, live TV. Gotta love it. Okay, the answer to breakaway trivia. I'll give you the question one more time real quick.
Yes.
Where did the Calgary Flames play before they became the Calgary Flames? Anybody know?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Wow, you have scored. Congratulations, Capo Caco.
Sir.
Okay,
It was the Atlanta Flames. Very good.
That was funny because you went in the other room. I'm like, 25 seconds. I didn't
hear you.
And I'm like, he don't know. He can come back.
Well, good thing I didn't start dropping any F-bombs or anything like that.
Oh, dear God. But let's finish talking about the fantasy hockey. So what I was saying while you were in the other room, I don't know if you heard this. People have been asking us to try to incorporate some fantasy hockey.
I love the idea.
I do, but we're trying to figure out the way to do that because honestly, there's so many different settings for leagues, like the league I'm in with you.
Right. Well, what we could do is we could do what the standard settings are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll hash this out, and then we could do either like I know some leagues do like auction. Or the other, like I'm in another league that does like a salary cap league.
Yep.
That's tough.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's for more advanced.
Oh yeah, it's not easy.
But even the setting,
it's fun.
Like our league, I'm doing great in your league, right? But,
you were until this week. I'm about to catch you. I'm within 1 point.
Damn you, sir. But in the other league I'm in with my buddy out of Pittsburgh of all places, Kevin Hannon. Shout out to Kevin Hannon who listens to this show. I got to tell you, I'm getting destroyed in his league, and it's because of the different settings. And they have like face-offs one.
Yeah.
We haven't played with that, and all of a sudden that's a thing now. And I'm like,
yeah,
whoa.
face-offs. We used to do face-offs in a different league I was in, too.
It's like an immediate point.
Well, like with ours, we took out penalty minutes and replaced it with hits before hits became standard. Mm-hmm. So
we play both in my league.
Do you?
Do hits and penalties.
I always thought it was kind of stupid that you got a point for getting a penalty. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So my man gets a 5-minute major, costs his team 3 goals, and I get points for that?
You get,
wow.
Positive.
I get the mayhem points. I should have that mayhem guy from Allstate.
Well, listen, if anybody's out there and does play fantasy hockey and wants to maybe see us talk about that, do us a favor and drop your settings as a comment on one of our posts here or on the All Pucked Up page, and we'll try to get as many involved. I can't think of any
Well, because you know what the nice thing about that is, there's everybody, including all of us, play fantasy football.
Yeah,
I mean, there's weekly TV shows about it and all that. there's really not a lot in the way of fantasy hockey out
There's
there.
nothing.
So,
No, yeah.
I think it'd be pretty cool since we all play fantasy hockey.
Yeah.
We should start talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should. And you're right. There's nothing out of it. I'm doing this great because of my own knowledge.
But Rich,
this week.
I love playing in the league with Rich because Rich is one of those guys that does like 3 or 4 moves every week.
God.
So just when his team starts doing good, it's like he panics.
I do. I do. I'm constantly
Wait a minute. No, I got to make a move. I got to make a move.
I got to get the. You know how
I'm like, what's he doing?
I play numbers, man. I totally play numbers. I'm like, they've got 5 games this week. He's got 2. Play the numbers. Yep, so. Wait, did I just give away my secret?
No, there's no secret.
There is no secret. So, what else are we talking about here? We're talking about the Islanders, man, and the Islanders doing great so far this season. I think I'm current on my numbers here. 12-3-1. Good for 25 points. They're sitting second in the East, just behind the Washington Capitals, who we knew they were going to be there. That's not a big shocker there. They haven't lost in regulation in exactly 1 month. When they lost their back-to-back games to the Oilers and the Hurricanes.
Yep.
And so that's 12 straight games that they've gotten at least a point in. They're on a tear. And I know that we mentioned before, I guess there's no way to go into the Islanders without mentioning Barry Trotz, obviously. We've mentioned before about everybody's buying into his system, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's driving this team right now. Yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there's no huge names on this team.
Not really. I mean, Matt Barzal's a superstar in the making, but he's not, Tavares yet.
Right.
Ooh, don't say that name.
Right?
Not you don't want that.
Yeah, but don't you think the Islanders kind of got the last laugh on that one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. They became more of a team after he left.
Yep.
And frankly, they've had more success without him.
Is that what they call like addition by subtraction?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that because, there are people out there when we say the Barry Trotz system. What exactly is the Barry Trotz system? And
If, for all you fans from like the 90s and all that, if you remember like the trap, Barry Trotz plays a modified version of the trap. They're very hard to move the puck against. They're very hard to get set up against. Heavy on the forecheck. And the thing with Trott's system, like you said, he's got everybody bought in, so he's able to roll 4 lines using that same exact system. It's just it's a wave,
right,
constantly. The one Achilles heel the Islanders may end up having is what ended up killing them in the second round last year is lack of scoring. I mean, when you have a team that's bought into a system like that, there are things that you're going to have to sacrifice, and one of them is having your sniper, so to speak. I kind of wonder sometimes if that's one of the reasons why Panarin didn't go there, because the Islanders were also offering him more money as well.
Yep.
They play in New York City. Granted, they're not on Broadway, but if Panarin went to the Islanders, he was going to have to play in that system.
Yeah.
So maybe, with him going to the Rangers, he can be a little more freewheeling with his offense, even though he's a very good defensive player as it is. But, that once you're in that system. There's no room for freelancing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it works, right? Because with the Islanders system, you don't have to have superstars. You really don't. And they still, you ask me, they still have the best fourth line in hockey.
Oh, yeah.
If not for names alone. Cizikas and Clutterbuck. I just love saying that.
Well, it's funny because, as you look at this, we mentioned there's no huge names on this team. You're looking at the roster. Brock Nelson. They do have Brassard. Brassard has been...
What a pickup, though. Didn't we talk about that in the beginning?
Absolutely.
Remember when he was still floating around out there as a free agent? What did they need? They needed a third-line center. Brassard fits that bill perfectly.
He does.
He's not going to be a top 6 forward anymore, but...
I didn't look.
Third line center?
What
Perfect.
did they get him for? Do you know? Was it?
It was a 1-year deal. I think they got him for like $1.2 million.
So they got
it's like a prove it deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Which
that's good
is fine.
He was kind of floating around and
right.
Didn't know what we were going to do with him, kind of thing. And so.
And I'll tell you, Brock Nelson, that was a smart move to re-sign him.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And we got him.
He's on a
6-year.
6-year. Okay, you're right.
6-year contract.
You're right. So, and they got their captain back, Anders Lee, and he never really wanted to leave to begin with. That was more Lou Lamoriello playing his contract games than anything else, which he's kind of lucky that didn't burn him.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Lee ended up getting, I think it was $7 million a year, and he's worth every penny of that, if you ask me.
Sure.
Yep.
But the thing is like they lost Jordan Eberle for a while to injury, and he was one of their top scorers last year. Kind of had a rebirth on the island after getting out of Edmonton. He went down, but they didn't miss a beat. Why? Because they play that system.
Right.
They can roll right through. It didn't hurt him as bad as it would with your top scoring right winger going down anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and good on them. Their defense has been solid to their defensemen. And now they're finally getting another one of my old favorites. And I know you haven't played in the league with me since we started it, but I always took Johnny Boychuk. I've always been a Johnny Boychuk fan. The guy hits, he shoots, he doesn't really score a lot, but darn well you're going to get at least 4 or 5 hits out of him.
Absolutely. He's a grinder.
But the problem is he's kind of made of glass, too. He misses half the season with injury. But, hey, that's okay. That's okay.
That's all right.
So that, in a nutshell, is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. We should talk about goaltending, too, because obviously the way they roll this, Varlamov, they just picked up.
Yes.
Not too long ago. And Thomas Greiss, their other goaltender there. I mean, I think they are at like 9 games and 8 games.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're jostling
50-50 split.
Yep.
Literally like every other game they're in. And we mentioned that is going to help them down the stretch, obviously.
Sure it is.
Because you're not beating so much on one goalie as
right.
the other.
The only thing that I think is that's a tough call to do, doing a 50-50 split like that. Mm-hmm. Because you kind of want to ride the hot goalie till he's not.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, you're paying both these guys a lot of money, so
you gotta get some use out of them.
Yeah,
yeah, but there's a big picture to all that. For one thing, Greiss is used to this by now.
Yeah,
because that's what they've been doing with them all along.
Yeah,
sure.
Right. Varlamov, for as good of a goalie as he is, he's also known to get hurt a lot. Mm-hmm. So you got to keep him rested too. So they wanted Leonard back, but apparently I don't know what went on behind the scenes there, because the Islanders offered him the same money and an extra year on the contract, but he bolted and went to Chicago anyways.
And I'm surprised at that, because at the end of last season, he was like a darling all of a sudden out there.
Yeah. And he's doing fantastic out in Chicago too.
Yeah.
He is. But see, here's the thing. They brought in Varlamov, and they signed him to 4 years, which tells me that since Thomas Greiss is a UFA at the end of the season, he's gone.
Yep.
Because the Islanders also have a goalie in the AHL by the name of Igor Sorokin. Mm-hmm. And he, like Shesterkin, was very highly rated coming over. I mean, I think they were like neck and neck as far as, rankings and all that. Yep. He just wasn't getting as much press and all that, which, whatever, it is what it is. But they brought Varlamov in with that Russian language connection, so that when Greiss does leave, they'll be able to bring Sorokin in. He can kind of mentor him, that kind of deal. Hope Varlamov's health holds up after Greiss leaves, because if not, you're going to be turning over the controls to a rookie. And so we'll see. But, hey, it is what it is.
Let me ask you guys. I mean, obviously, this is a playoff team. I don't think there's any doubt.
No.
Can they get over the hump this year, you think? Or is that still...
It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because, and again, I hate to beat the dead horse with the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. But already the Islanders are being connected to maybe trying to go out and get another scorer. Already. And they're going to have cap space at the deadline, so they're going to be able to do it. They got a few extra draft picks to work with. So I think you will see them make some sort of move, because, like I said, they were able to grind Pittsburgh down in the first round. Sorry don't mean to bring up bad memories.
No, that's fine.
Or anything like that.
About it.
Just step away from the ledge, Rich. Step away from the ledge.
I love hearing about it. Just anything else you can add to that?
Oh, man. But once they got bludgeoned by Carolina in the second round because they just couldn't keep up scoring-wise.
Yeah.
So I think you will see them make some sort of move. Can they get over the hump? Sure they can. Sure they can. A lot of it's going to depend on who they play, but it's like I've said right from the get-go. The Metro Division, it's going to be the Caps and the Islanders taking the first 2 spots.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That third spot's up for grabs, but there's not going to be a wild card coming out of the Metro. I think Carolina's probably going to get in on that third spot, because I still think Montreal and Florida have too much to not get into the wild card.
Yep.
And you got to remember too, if Buffalo can manage to not be the dominant team that they were to start with, but if they make incremental improvements and that start that they've got to build on, if they don't fade away, they're going to be in the mix too.
Yeah.
So you got 6 teams out of that Atlantic Division. Okay? And I don't mean to digress away from the Islanders, but I'm just kind of trying to paint the picture here.
Sure.
Okay? So you're going to have very high-scoring teams coming out of the Atlantic, too. So that Trotz system is going to have to work to perfection. And if they don't do something to bolster their scoring a little bit, they could have a hard time.
Could end up doing the same thing as last year.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing for them is, I still think Washington's going to win that division. Mm-hmm. The Islanders are probably going to finish second, so they're going to get the third-place team coming out of the Metro. So they should be able to get out of the first round again.
Yeah.
Second round is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, but it's November too. A lot of hockey left to play.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, and we always say it like, what did we say last year? St. Louis, we were like, oh, this team is done, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden,
yeah.
Sorry, they're winning the cup.
The roadkill came to life. Yeah.
Roadkill. Yeah, they were in very last.
They were dead last play on New Year's Day.
God, it's
crazy.
The NHL is weird like that.
It is. It is.
So, before we do anything else, I said we weren't going to talk about Buffalo today. We weren't going to have time, but we should mention a little something, and that is, you kind of alluded to it. After this hot start, all of a sudden they are on a
5-game losing streak.
5-game losing streak. What's going on, man? Is this the Sabres that we're used to seeing, or
you know what the Sabres what happened to the Sabres? The goaltending pumpkin.
Yep.
The pumpkin?
Like from Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
Carter Hutton is a very good backup goalie.
Yeah.
Carter Hutton is not a starter.
Nope.
Linus Ullmark is a very good backup goalie. Linus Ullmark is not a starter. Buffalo needs to figure out that goaltending. They got to do something. They got to get a legit starter in there. If it means giving up one of those two, that means it's what it means. They're going to have to.
Sure.
But if they want to take that next step, they've got to shore up the goaltending, because everything else on that team is trending in the right direction. You know, I know they hit a rough patch right now. All teams hit a rough patch.
Sure.
I don't care who you are. You know, ask the Tampa Bay Lightning. They hit their rough patch at the very worst time of the season possible.
And that was a rough patch.
But I'm still a firm believer in Buffalo. I think that team as a whole is headed the right direction. But the goaltending's got to get fixed.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it.
Well,
And the only thing, going back to the Isles here, that I worry about with them putting a lot of stock into Grubauer is he's
Varlamov.
Sorry. Grubauer is in Colorado, who he lost his starting position to there.
He's hurt.
Yeah, when he was hurt, and then Grubauer just kept playing.
Yeah.
Varlamov was 20-19-9 last season. That's not great. And to let,
Well, you got to remember, too, with Colorado, they were a one-trick pony last year.
Yeah.
They had the one line, and that was about it. They didn't have Cal McCarr there yet.
No.
Tyson Berry was there, but, Tyson Berry's more of an offensive defenseman than anything else. Mm-hmm. So Colorado's actually solidified a lot since last season. But you're right. There was times where Varlamov blended in with that wall.
Yep.
Where is he? Who knows? I don't know. But he's not stopping the puck. Where is he? So...
I love his analogies. He blends in with the wall.
Well, he did. For me.
Oh, God.
But I think that's why the Islanders were a perfect landing spot for him, because they were going to do that. That every other game. Sometimes that hurts a goaltender though too, because they can't get into a rhythm.
Yeah, that's that, and that's what I said earlier.
Like I said, it doesn't really bother Grice because that's what he's been. It's like that's what he was raised on in the island, But I think in the long run, that's actually going to be good for Varlamov. Maybe if he starts getting into his groove, maybe Trotz will say, "Okay, I'm going to let you take the reins for a few games, let him get some games in, and then once he starts blending in with the wall again, back off and say, all right, Grice, get in there, But the whole thing with that type of system is once you cut to the playoffs, you got to pick a goalie.
Yeah, you do.
That's what makes it tough. But hey, seems to be working for the Islanders pretty good so far.
Yeah, I guess ride it till it doesn't work.
Exactly.
So.
You've got no superstar on this team. There's not one guy.
No.
You look at the top points guys on this team. Matthew Barzal, 7 goals, 7 assists. Josh Bailey, 6 goals, 6 assists. They're almost even numbers all the way down the sheet. They're playing like a team, and that's what they need to be doing. And obviously, whatever Trotz is doing there, it's working for the Islanders.
And that was, that's what kind of amazed me. Is
Devin Tays has 10 points on defense, too.
Yeah.
2 goals, 8 assists.
Yep.
No. And that's fun.
And that's the other thing, too. A lot of their offense grows through their defense.
Yeah.
We thought this team, or maybe not me, but thought,
You can go ahead and say it. It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was. I thought this team was done once Tavares was gone. I did.
Yeah.
So
did a lot of the fans.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're in the island and you know which arena to go to for a home game, I'd go.
And
Something special.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? For the second year in a row, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. First year was because of Tavares.
Yeah.
This year it's because of Panarin.
Yep.
Panarin's spurned them.
Yeah, that's
It's like they got jilted 2 years in a row. They're like the Rodney Dangerfield of the NHL. We get no respect. I mean,
yeah, it's true. Hey, you know what? If they can play this good with a chip on their shoulder, keep finding reasons.
exactly.
So I got to say hi to Travis. He's out there. He said, Yosh, hey, and enjoy the game, Scott. So
I will, Travis. Thank you.
Hey, Travis.
go.
Hey, you still got those tickets for sale for today, Travis?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Actually.
Gone. You get none, sir.
Hey, Travis, send Rich that picture of you and I at the wall with our personalized message to him, too, at the odd.
What?
Yeah, he'll send you the picture.
Let me guess.
We wrote you a personalized message.
I don't even want to see it. I can already guess.
Yeah, it's there. We wrote it last year, too.
Was it last year? Freaking guys break my balls about Penguins mercilessly. I got nothing.
Well, we're just admiring your love for the Penguins. That's all.
You'll see. I'm going to disagree with you. I know you said that there's not going to be a fourth team coming out of the Metro. I'm going to say yes, there is. Absolutely, because Penguins.
Well, of course you're going to say that.
It's probably not going to happen.
Well, hey, that's okay. Nothing wrong with having a little confidence in your team.
Guys,
But, maybe they ought to get more injuries because they seem to play better when everybody's injured. So
they do. Look at the times, and I don't want to get into Penguins. That's a whole different thing. But every time that
nobody wants to hear it.
Crosby's out, Malkin plays better. The minute Crosby comes back, Malkin disappears.
Exactly.
So, I don't understand that. Nobody understands them. Just keep winning. Hey, listen,
they're Al Davis hoes.
we do want to say
Just win, Pengies.
Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there.
Absolutely.
And give a little shout out to all of our veterans, either retired or active out there. Thank you guys for all your service and for all you do for this country. It's very much appreciated. And to Mr. Moss out there, Richard Moss, Erica's dad, and I think
My father, Leo Kimball.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So a lot of military in my family.
And I have a lot of other friends that are veterans. Please don't think I'm leaving you out, but we would be here for another hour trying to.
Yeah, absolutely. I when I was coming in today, I saw they were doing the ceremony along the Parkway here. And, they have the flags.
Yeah.
It's very nice too.
It's an awesome tribute out there that they do, and even in the snow, because we're just starting to get a snowstorm up here, freaking November. But I saw they were out there doing the ceremony, and that's great, man. It's too bad we can't do stuff like that every day. Seriously.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, happy Valentine's
Valentine's Day.
I'm way happy Veterans Day. I bind someplace else. You know what it was? I said Moss and.
Oh, yeah. We could just see a little hearts just popping up over your head over there.
Oh boy, you guys. Anyways, for that we're going to call. If anybody out there wants to join in next week, I think we're talking maybe a little bit more Sabres because we really got to talk.
Well, not only that, I think we're also talking about doing a little segment about who's going to be future Hall of Famers and who's not. Since next Monday, the 18th, is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So I think maybe we'll have a little fun with that. We'll come up with a list of players, and we'll put it on our Facebook page ahead of time so people can think about it.
Yes.
We'll either have a Hall of Famer or Hall of Very Good.
Hall of not so.
Yeah, Hall of Close but No Cigar.
Oh my God,
Tater Glass.
I told you. I like Tater Glass. Man. He's right there. Anyways, let's call it for today. I know we're going to cut out a couple minutes earlier, but that's all right, man. We want to get home.
Got to beat the snow. I got to get the fam and get back to the Adirondack Bank Center to root on our Comets.
That's it. Big snowstorm. What is it? 6 to 9 inches, they said this?
That's north of us.
So that means like probably 1 inch.
Yeah. Everybody just shuts down as soon as they see 6 inches come in, and then it's like a dusting.
It's great, too.
Stores are empty. Shelves are empty.
Somebody said it today. I think it was like Rocky Graziano or something. They said Travis sending me that damn picture.
Boy, Travis.
You guys point at it, too. You guys.
Yeah.
Breaking my balls. But I think it was Rocky Graziano.
You're forever immortalized.
He was saying today, he says, I've never seen a bunch of upstate New Yorkers who've lived here for like 30 years go into absolute terror.
I know.
For a snowstorm. 3 inches. What are we doing? We got to get the bread and milk.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to join him. I'm going right to the store and getting bread and milk. Guys, we're going to
Get your bunker ready, Rich.
we're getting out of here. So for Scott and for Yoshi, I'm Rich Masucci, and enjoy the games. And we will talk to you next Tuesday at noon.
Monday.
Monday. Oh, that's right. We're back to Mondays.
Yep.
God,
We are. This is Monday.
see why I want to take this break? I want to get out of here a little early. My head's still not.
You need a nap.
I do. I need a long rest. Guys, take care. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Later.
See you.